Why does it seem like homophobic people on social media think about same-gender intercourse more than the couple themselves? 'Cause they are projecting. I live in a very homophobic country. Our last president was famous for saying homosexuals are worse than pigs and dogs. In my culture, they believe that men are superior to women because they view sex as an act of dominance and submission. They believe a man willingly submitting to penetration by another man makes him lesser, like a woman. And this is somehow a threat to all men's masculinity. This makes them obsess on the mechanics of same-gender sex for men. Lesbians hardly ever feature in the discussions because they believe two women can't have sex. Obsession. Because those haters can't control who gives them a boner, they tend to be caught with same-sex, sex workers. I have no idea what the proportions are. But an awful lot of homophobic people seem to be people who themselves are homosexual, who have internalized the idea that that is shameful and terrible, and who are desperately trying to convince others that they couldn't possibly be gay because of how much they publicly declare that they hate gay people. They seem to think about sex in general more than most people. The more rules against sex they have, like waiting for marriage, hero sex only, no masturbation, have your first kiss on your wedding day, etc., the more obsessed with sex they become. Religious fundamentalists think more about sex than horny teenagers. Because they do. It is definitely a trope that the most anti-homosexual people are self-hating homosexuals. I'm sure that's true in many cases. Anecdotally, I can think of so many well-known anti-LGBTQ people where it gets out that they are having secret same-sex affairs or are engaging same-sex sex workers or trans sex workers. I doubt that's the majority though. I think most of them are simply obsessed with this one way to other people and have a fascination with the differentness. Like gossipy details. They need to keep repeating the thing that makes them different so they can keep thinking it's okay to violate their human rights. These people are often bigots in other ways also. They don't. I'm conservative with conservative friends and a conservative social circle. Never been remotely a topic of conversation. I've also never met a homophobic person in the past 20 years. Worst I've heard are jokes. But I've also heard jokes about every group of people, so they mean nothing. I am not going to indulge in the trope that homophobes tend to be gay, because that doesn't seem to be true in most cases. But I do think they have an overwhelming fear that they could be convinced or seduced or brainwashed into doing something gay. There seems to be a strong sense among people concerned about the gay agenda that it is easy to manipulate people into homosexual acts behavior, which suggests to me that they feel they too could have been convinced it's acceptable, enjoyable, and a preferable way to live. They fetishize sexuality as a kink. Being gay is kinky, being straight is not. That's why they are squeaked out by the very existence of gay men. I believe there was a study done on self-described homophobic people and controls. When the self-described homophobic people looked at gay porn, blood flow to their genitals was increased compared to controls. Because homophobes are gay. They are closet cases, that's the long and short of it. I think there are so many more queer people in this world than we currently account for. Technically, they do. They are open about that, even if they claim they don't like it or can't conceive of it, they still bring it up constantly. It's a Freudian slip. Even if they aren't thinking about the act itself, they still make it a topic of conversation and they initiate it, even asking people what kind of appendages they have and then act as if it's no big thing. It is also a thing that usually the more staunchly they claim to be against it, the more they are secretly for it. This has been found to happen even with politicians who are on a certain side of the aisle. It is strange. The amount of focus they put on it is disturbing. Asking a left-leaning echo chamber like Reddit probably won't get you any legitimate, thoughtful answers. Because for some reason they think the best way to keep the gay thoughts away is to be homophobic. Most of the naysayers are just homophobes, I bet. My brother talks about and bashes trans people 10x more than anybody I know, and he's completely unaware that I know he got a BJ from a trans person back when it was so rare that I could say the trans person. I'm not judging him for it. And actually his friends didn't either, although they did tell me out of concern and or giving me the whole story. BC, like I said, he's a huge, closeted bigot. Something about closets comes to mind. I swear to God they do. I hear more discourse about queer rights and trans rights from people being discriminatory than I do from other folks in the community.